Fingers crossed, everyone. We're off to get Ashley's car inspected, finally. Woo woo. Off we go. We're in with the only ones here right now, which is nice, isn't it? Hey Ashley, what's the verdict on the car?
It passed.
Passed! Something went right. Ashley, I sit there like it's a personal thing. We're like, oh my God, please pass. There's nothing. So guys, there's nothing wrong with the car. Don't worry about the little noises you hear when we're driving around. We're good. Yeah. We're good.
It's just cosmetic things.
Just cosmetic. Anyway, we're off to Wegmans. Are we?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay guys, we're home. It's 4:30. We were sitting there and there's nothing coming, so decided to come home. Just had something to eat for lunch. I was just going to vacuum the living room, but my back's got other ideas, so I'll do it a bit later on. So I decided to come back here. I'm going to do some Avon stuff now because I was checking some things out this morning. Clarky, thank you so much for your order. I saw that you put an order through. I really appreciate it. It's nothing more exciting than getting into your website and seeing processing 1. And then you click on it and it's a name of a friend who's placed an order. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys are having a good Friday. I keep wanting to say Saturday, but it's still Friday. So we'll be out and about again tomorrow. Can't force it. So here we are. But anyway, have a good afternoon or almost evening now. And we'll talk to you guys in a little while. So it's coffee and eclair time. Whoops. Eclair's it's upside down, so chocolate's gone on the napkin. Anyway, I'll just clean the living room. Dusted and vacuumed, long overdue. So now it's time for a cup of coffee and it's 6 o'clock. Yes, I'm sitting in the dark and it's lovely. The only lights I have on are those little ones on the bedpost thingy-majiggy over there. Gotta stop putting my arm up, it's getting annoying. Anyway, guys, it is 7:30. Ash has been in a room. I did, as I said, went down and cleaned the living room. Now, my song of the day. Now, when I do song of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything that's being sung in those songs relates to me that day. It's just one I had a good sing-along to in the morning. You know what? Hold on one sec. Just ignore the hair. The fringe needs to be thinned out of it. So, yeah, the song of the day doesn't necessarily mean that song applies to me, because I realize some of the lines in the song, you may think I'm thinking too much into stuff, but it just happens to be a song that I had a good sing-along to in the morning. This one in particular today, it's going to be before a lot of your times. Sherry by the Four Seasons. Sherry, Sherry baby, that one. Well, when I was in Germany, school age had finished for the school I was finishing, and Dad was getting posted few months later. And all my friends that were still staying in the area, that their parents, fathers, mothers, anyone who was in the service was staying in that area, went to boarding school in Ham. It was called Ham Boarding School. I wonder if I can find it on here. And I wanted to go to boarding school. And my mum and dad said, are you sure? Because I definitely was a homebody. Oh, what am I doing? Hold on. I want to see, I think there is a page for it. I was looking at some of my other schools on Facebook the other day. Yes. Oh, there's no pictures of the school though. It wasn't a boys' school. It was just girls when I went. The boys' school was further up the road. Gosh, this is from 2013. Hold on, let's have another deco. Mum and Dad had already talked to the school, and I was able to stay on because, like I said, Dad was getting posted like 2 or 3 months. Was it 3 months later? And Mum goes, you can just stay at that school. And I'm like, no, I want to go to boarding school. Mistake. Oh, this one's only got 3 members. Never mind, they're not going to show pictures of it. That's a shame because that would have been fun. I was looking at some of my other schools that are no good. And I mean, they're all derelict now. And I was just hoping there'd be some pictures of it. No. I'm like, yeah, I want to go. It was only a couple of hours away from where we lived, I think. Gosh, it's so weird being so dark. Hold on a sec. There we go. It's just like a floating head because I'm in dark clothes. So they signed me up, got all my stuff. Well, I cried. I was 13 and cried. What was I, 11, 12, 13? Somewhere in there. Who knows? It was so long ago. Cried and cried and cried and cried. We had a matron of the army schools were all made up of houses, and even day school, like normal school, not boarding schools, the same thing. I can't even remember. I think in Kent school I was in Cambridge House. I don't know. I can't remember that far back. Maybe if I look. Mum gave me all my report cards, which you shouldn't even be able to look at because they're not good. But anyway, the matron used to call my mum and dad. Every time they drop me off, they're like, she goes, she'll be fine. Pretty much every weekend my parents came to see me or took me home or, whatever, because I cried and cried and cried. And even to try and make me feel better, the Bay City Rollers were very big at that time, the group, which I don't know if they even made it over to America. I don't know. Anyway, Mum bought me the clothes. I had these trousers that were like flared and they were above the ankle and they had tartan on them. It was a Scottish group. Bought me all this stuff to make me better. As soon as they left again, I cried. Well, anyway, this song that I chose today, Sherry Baby, we used to have little discos on a Friday night. And when I was in school for the weekend, that was one of the first songs and the only song I remember. We used to go up into the attic room and we'd have this little disco, all girls. And I also remember we had to make our bed. I think there was 6 of us in a room. Almost looked like the old ward, not the old wards in hospitals. There was 6 beds or 8. And I remember we had to make our bed hospital corners. It was a military school, hospital corners. And if the matron came in, I can still picture her, and looked, and your hospital corners weren't neat, she would rip the sheets off the bed and everyone had to wait to go to breakfast. The best part was when you used to come back in and there was a board. As you came up the stairs, there was this big chalkboard, blackboard, and they would write on the mail, who had mail and who had packages. That was always fun. But yeah, that song always reminds me of boarding school. And when it came on this morning, I'm just like singing my heart out. And I just wanted to explain about the song of the days. You may even find a time when I put the same song several times in a week. If that song hits me the right way, then I will be putting it as my song choice of the day. It just means I've had a good sing-along as I'm getting my hair done. My hair done. I do my hair. and makeup and whatnot as I'm getting ready. I sit here with the music blaring, and it is blaring. But yeah, I just heard that this morning. I'm like, oh my goodness, took me all the way back. But funnily enough, this week I was looking at two of my old schools. I went to Kent School, in Hostedt, Germany. Now, let me see. Please show you. That was my school. Someone took that picture. How gorgeous is that? Well, no, it's not like that now. I'm sorry. I don't want to get people's names in here. There we are. Kent School. Now, this school, I was on the cross-country team. And we used to, at the back of the school, there was like these woods. Yeah, look, this is it now. It's all derelict. No one's in it now. My brother went to this one a couple of years prior to me. Here's the old tin can. It was a big, I remember I told you that day I was very skinny back then. Big trees all the way up, and at the top there was this like monument. I think I was trying to find something to show you. I think someone did have a picture of the Clippy. But anyway, we used to run up there, and especially in the winter time. The army schools, I know in England, public schools wear uniforms as well, but army schools, we always wore uniforms. And we had uniform PE kit as well, which consisted of what we used to call gym knickers. They were these bright blue knickers with a white stripe. And we had, we wore t-shirts. And the boys, as in the winter when we would be running up, would stand behind the bushes and pull back the branches and snap them in our legs. People post pictures and I'm always looking going, was I there? Because this is in the 70s, early 70s. But yeah, gosh. Anyway, and then the other school I went to in Germany, the last school I went to was PRS. Let's see. This was the one before we came back to England, where we went to, that's PRS, Prince Rupert School. I'm not part of this group. Where's the one I'm a part of? Because Jane is too. Okay. So this is a school, and this is where we ran up. Right there, that's the Clippy. Let's see. This is the school's being knocked down now, not renovated. Apparently there was a fire there not that long ago, somebody said. Yeah, as you can see. It's crazy. There's our little uniforms. There's the Clippy. Ah! Just hit the thing. It's a Clip and Derm. We used to just call it the Clippy. He said the walk doesn't get easier, but look at the view behind him. Amazing. Oh, look, there's my friend Jane. See, I told you Jane's in this group as well. Jane and I went to this school together. I'm going to have a lot of editing to do because I'm like throwing the camera around. But yeah, lots of good times. Good times. 1947. Oh, I guess you can order shirts and stuff. I was trying to think when I was there. So 16, born in 63, 73, 74, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I was there like 77, 78, and probably part of 79. Don't know if I make you feel old, but Mum has a picture of me next to her bed in that uniform with my long, very blonde hair in a ponytail. And I should try and get a picture of it next time I go home. And then I was also looking at the hospital I was born in. RAF Vegberg. I was born in an RAF hospital, not an army hospital. And no, this one was born in 61, she says. I mean, do you really want to see the hospital? No. Don't even know if the hospital still is. I don't remember the hospital. But all I know is I put my poor mother in hospital for a month before I was born because her blood pressure was very high. It's probably not been the same since. But I just figured I would share a little bit of that with you. I would love to go back to Germany one day with Ash. Kind of show her around. There's nothing more, what's the word? I just remember we'd go to church and we went to the church in the camp, and it was all religions. It was all the army families. And then we'd always have a piece of cream cake afterwards. And sometimes I would walk down to the bakery and Mum would say, get me a piece of this, Dad'll have a piece of that. What are you having? And, would get a piece of cake. Always on a Sunday, I remember, before our roast dinner, with coffee after church. What was my point? I guess there wasn't one. But just how clean the Germans were. Like I can say that the Germans, they are German. Like always out gardening and keeping everything neat and tidy. And I don't know if it's like that now. I would just love to go back with Ashley one day and just show her where I went to school, because we moved. I was born there. Then we went back to England. My dad had a posting in England. Then I think we went back to Germany, different place. Then we went to Cyprus. We lived in Cyprus. I turned 6 in Cyprus. We were only there 13 months. And then it was back to Germany. And I was in Germany till I was 16. But then Dad got posted to Yorkshire. And I worked in Yorkshire, North Yorkshire. I worked at the planning department for a while. Then we moved back to the Midlands and was in the Midlands for a year. And then I came here. And I've been here for 41 years this July. So yeah, it's insane. I've just been doing a lot of, seeing as we've been cleaning out the house and going through a lot of memories this week, I've done a lot of walking down memory lane on Facebook too, looking at my old schools and looking at people and stuff like that. I am in touch on Facebook with my friend Karen. We went to Kent School together. She found me on Facebook. And I have to laugh because she sent me this picture. She goes, is that you? I go, yeah, that's me. And I think I was hanging upside down from a tree. I was such a tomboy. And then when we went to the next school is where I met Jane. Her father was the fire department in the army. And we had assigned seating on the buses. All our schools were like an hour away. And then I remember when the Americans came and we had to make room for the Americans in our school. And it was always fascinating to me what they would bring for lunch, and we'd always be discussing things. I had a German friend who used to bring, her dad was in the army, her mum was German, married to an army soldier and a British soldier. And she used to bring raw bacon sandwiches. And then when the Americans came, I remember this kid, I just remember we were in the 70s, big curly hair. And I just remember him sitting at our table because when we were 6th form, we didn't have to go down to the cafeteria. We had a room that we could hang out in on our breaks. And he was sat with us at one of the tables and he opened up his sandwich and it was peanut butter with a Hershey chocolate bar in it, proper chocolate bar. So I was telling Ashley about it a few months ago, and she got some Hershey chocolate bars. I said, this is the best sandwich ever. I've never had it, but I just remember him bringing that. I'm like, that's a chocolate bar a day? He goes, oh yeah, it's good. But the good thing was when the Americans came to the area, we were allowed to go to the BX. Was it the BX? We were allowed to go there as British military families. And I remember I used to do our shopping, and Dad would always get us a cheeseburger afterwards. And my dad loved the cheeseburger. And I'll never forget looking at my dad once going, Dad, you got something here? And it was all grease down his chin. He goes, oh, I love these burgers. You have them with everything on and it just runs down your cheek. Well, he didn't say it like that because he wasn't from up north. He was a Midlander. Anyway, memory lane. Oh, lots to edit now. But yeah, crazy. Anyway, guys, more of the story. Would love to take Ashley back one day and show her Germany, because I lived there longer than I've lived in England. I've now lived in the States longer than I've lived anywhere. So crazy. Anyway, I think we're going to love and leave you for tonight because I have rambled and now I've got to sort all that out. Oh, please subscribe. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I hope you've all had a brilliant, brilliant Friday, whatever it is you did today. I hope it was a good one and we will definitely see you tomorrow. Take care, guys, and stay safe.